August the 25th, 2015. We're going to do a little interview here with Adam Palmer. He's been in Army, I think in for what, 9 years?
Yes, sir.
In active service, I guess, for 7, going back and forth between Afghanistan and all.
Well, I did 9 years active duty and 3 combat tours in Iraq.
So he's going to tell us a little bit about his experiences in Iraq, about his relationship with the Lord, and how that strengthened him. And here recently, how him and a friend of his, Nicholas Grant, went on a 48-day journey around the United States in 48 days and did a lot of mission work, did a good thing. The Lord prompted him to do this. He supplied them with the inspiration, the funds to do it with, and it just tells you how the Lord works in our lives if we allow him to. And we don't know what kind of road we'll go down, but the Lord will take us down and he'll see us through. All right, Al, tell us a little bit about when you first got ready to go to the military. I remember going out to eat with y'all and your family and everything right before you went. I think you were 17, weren't you?
Yes. Yeah. I was. I think the first time I thought about joining the military was September 11th, 2001, when the Twin Towers fell. I was a junior in high school at that time,
Right.
and we watched it all happen. I think the whole school day was dedicated to watching what was going on at the Pentagon and New York City and things like that, and it really angered me to see innocent American lives lost because of foreign aggression, and I can remember wanting to do something about it, and I was messing around with a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I had made a profession of faith. I had been baptized. I had already started a relationship with Christ, and professed my faith, and I was doing things in the church, but I called it kind of going through the motions.
Right.
Where on Sunday I was a Christian, but the other 6 days of the week, I did what I wanted to do with little to no consideration to the Lord whatsoever. And I think my senior year, I was still on the fence as to what I wanted to do. I was a pretty decent football player at Landrum High School, but I had maintained that C average just to stay academically eligible.
Right.
All the way through high school. That way I could just keep playing football and wrestling and doing other sports. And when I injured my knee my senior year in the playoffs, I knew that there wasn't really any chance that I was going to be able to play any college football anywhere, and I didn't necessarily want to stay around small town life and work odd jobs and things like that. And
So you're going to go for some adventure.
well, and I'd also gotten mixed up with some of the wrong crowd and doing some of the wrong things, and I started selling drugs and doing different stuff like that, and I developed some addictions, and I realized I needed to make a change. And I'd always been the type of guy that I didn't like bullies.
Right.
And I was always the kind of guy that wanted to stand up for somebody that couldn't defend themselves, and the military just seemed like it would be what I needed. It would give me an opportunity to clean up. It would give me an opportunity to start a career
Give you
without
some structure to your life.
Yeah, some
Because
structure,
right now
some
you just kind of
discipline.
wandering around doing things and not doing the things you should be doing.
Yeah.
And a lot of us done it. I did all those things you're talking about.
Yeah.
But you know, after a while, if the Lord gets a hold of you, he can straighten you out. He can get you in that corner where he says, we're gonna make a decision about this thing.
And two, it was I don't know, it was just like an internal pull where I felt like that's what I needed to do. And with Iraq kicking up, because I think we moved into Iraq in March 2003, I joined the Army July 15, 2003. That's when I went to basic. And I finished basic and AIT. It was, pretty nice. I was one of the guys who enjoyed basic training. I thought it was cool, And after that, I went to Germany in November of 2003, and I got there just a little bit late for the combat field training that they had been doing, my battalion had been doing in preparation to go to Iraq. So I missed out on a lot of the training, and we left for Iraq.
So you got on the job training?
Yeah, kind of, sort of, yeah. I helped pack up all the connexes and, get everything squared away to go, but I didn't get that good field training that I probably needed that a lot of the other guys got. And we deployed to Bakuba, Iraq with 1st Infantry Division, February 2004. So I was about 4 months out of basic training when I went to Iraq the first time. And I didn't have a deep, meaningful relationship with Christ at that time. I believed, that's if somebody were to come up and ask me, hey, do you believe in Jesus? I would have been, yeah. Do you believe in God? Yeah. He does his thing, I do mine. Kind of the way it was. That's where I was with my faith. And once stuff started going south and things started going crazy, that first deployment, that's when I started to question whether God really was there, whether it was the truth, whether it wasn't, and
how could all this be happening in the face of God?
Exactly.
This is a mess.
It was I want to say June 2004. It was a formation of about 200 Iraqi recruits that were going to be joining the police and the Iraqi Army and National Guard and stuff, and they were out in front of the CMOC, and they were in formation, and somebody drove a bus full of mortars into the formation and set it off, and it killed about 70 people that day, and it was a pretty big mess, and just all of that stuff. There were streams of blood going down the streets, and that really bothered me, because I was saying, hey, here's 200 people that are trying to do the right thing, that are trying to make their country a better place, and trying to really take hold of this democracy thing that we always talk about.
Trying to help people you don't even know.
And they, how could God let one man do that to all those guys when they're trying to do the right thing? How can you let one person who's trying to do the wrong thing do that? Where are you? Where's God?
God's sin entered the world, and it was a consequence of sin. All this happened that was there in the first place.
Let's see, unless you have that foundation, unless you have that biblical foundation, unless you have that biblical knowledge, that true relationship with Christ, where you're praying on a regular basis, where you're reading your Bible on a regular basis, where you're learning everything there is about this Savior who saved your soul, then you don't know that.
You just see people dead in front of you.
You try to make whatever sense out of it you can with your own understanding, and it doesn't usually work out too great, because it's hard for us to make sense out of things like that. And then in July, it was I'd been in the Army for about a year. It was right before my 19th birthday. We had a car that came in from my left side and it passed my truck. It came out of the driveway, and you're not allowed to drive inside the patrols. And we were escorting some KBR civilians at the time, and this guy came hauling in. And every part of my training, we're trained, to look for vehicle-borne IEDs and car bombs and things like that. And this vehicle matched the description. It was erratic driver, way down in the back, low on the shocks, tinted windows. Everything I had been taught said, hey, this thing's a car bomb, it's about to blow up. And it jumped in front of my truck and it started charging on the vehicle in front of ours. And we went through all the escalation of force procedures. We yelled and honked and flashed our lights at the dude. I'm up in the gunner's hatch, I'm waving and screaming, and I fired some warning shots off to the right side of the vehicle and to get some dust pop-ups and stuff like that.
He didn't know this is a serious situation.
He didn't do anything. He just stayed on that other vehicle, and I engaged the vehicle, and I shot up all the windows with a 240 Bravo, and we got closer to it as it happened, and it turned out that there was 3 guys inside the vehicle. And as I was up in the front of the convoy, moving my truck up to the front, and we pulled front security while the platoon leader and the platoon sergeant were going through the vehicle and searching and looking for stuff. And I'm listening on the radio, and they were talking about, hey, we got 1 KIA, two wounded, and it was, we got 2 dead, 1 wounded, and I'm sitting there and I'm just, shaking and freaking out. And then they were like, there's nothing in this car. They're like, there's no explosives in this car, there's nothing. And that was kind of the point that I kind of walked away from the faith, because I didn't have any malice or any ill intentions. It's not like I wanted to kill anybody that day. I thought that it's what I had to do to protect, my vehicle and the vehicle in front of us. And, I truly thought that, if I didn't do something, that car was going to blow up, and that it was gonna threaten U.S. personnel. And
You've already seen 70 die.
Yeah,
and you don't want to see
they,
that again.
They had tried to take out our colonel with one.
Right.
They had, one of our gunners, a buddy of mine I went to basic with, he's the one that shot up that car and set it off before it got to the colonel. We had other car bombs that went off at the gates of the various FOBs in the area, and there was a lot of it around. But I'm sitting there saying to myself, why would you let this happen? If you're there and you love me, why would you let me do this? Why would you let this situation happen? You're all knowing, all powerful. Why? And then I was like, how can I ever be forgiven for this? How can I ever make up for this? There's no way that I could ever make up for the loss of 3 people. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm one person. If I lay down my life today, I can only atone for one of them, and after that, I had nightmares about it for a couple of years.
I would think so.
And I would replay the actual scene of me shooting in the vehicle, and one of the shots was real close, and I watched one of them die, and I would see that over and over again when I'd go to sleep, and then I'd dream about a family sitting down for dinner, with a place open, waiting for their dad, and he'd never come in the door. And I dreamed that same dream like every night, and it, you know, it ate at me and tore me up inside. And so you know, when I finished that first tour, and you know, there were other things that happened, you know, got shot at, got mortared, this and that, you know, normal combat stuff. But that was the one that really ate me up, you know, because I mean, they weren't enemy combatants. It was a mistake. And you know, that
It's part of war. War's not a good thing.
yeah, and I didn't, at that point in time, I pretty much stopped praying. I didn't crack open a Bible. Once I got back to Germany, I would go, I'd start drinking as soon as I got off work, and I would drink, shine my boots, do all that other stuff, and then I'd knock out for a couple hours, and then I'd wake up and go out to the bar or go out to the club, and I'd usually get out there about 11 o'clock at night and drink all night, party and fight, and you know, do all of that other stuff, and you know, and then show back up at 6 o'clock in the morning and get ready to start the day. And that was pretty much, I never wanted to feel like me, you know, so I'd always drink.
It kept you from having to deal with what was going on in your mind.
It helped.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, because if you were sober and sitting there, you had to deal with what had happened, and you was trying to make that go away.
Yeah, pretty much. I didn't want to feel like me. I wanted to feel different, you know, and I think that a lot of people can identify with that feeling, you know, of, you know, not liking yourself and not feeling like you're, because I'd gotten to a place where I was really dark, and my soul had been poisoned, and I wanted to, I don't know, it was I wanted to just feel different, and it was